Hello students, and today we are starting up with the first chapter of class 9th biology, the fundamental unit of life, cell. Before starting that chapter, let me give you a basic idea of what a cell is. Let's talk about ourselves. We are humans. We have a number of organs in the body. We have hand, we have mouth from which I am speaking right now. We have ears, you are watching me with your eyes. We have a number of organs in our body and we already knew that. We also have a number of systems in our body, like the digestive system, comprises of mouth, esophagus, stomach, intestines, etc. We already know that. What's so new in this? But today here, I am talking about the basic functional and structural unit of life. So what is it? Yes guys, it is cell. And we will study about this basic structural and functional unit of life in this chapter. So let's get started by the introduction. Every living organism in this universe are made up of tiny basic structural units called cell. So every living organism in this universe, every single living organism in this universe is made up of tiny basic structural units called as cell. So if someone asks you what a cell is, you can answer the question, cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life. Cells were discovered by Robert Hooke in 1665. Who discovered the cell and when? Cells were discovered by Robert Hooke in 1665. Robert Hooke examined the thin slices of cork under his self-designed microscope and he saw some honeycomb-like structures and he named a particular or a single structure or compartment as cell. Cells are the building block of an element that cannot be seen with naked eyes, but we can see them under a microscope. So cells are the basic building blocks of an element that we can't see with our naked eyes. They are so tiny that we can't see with our naked eyes, but we can see them under a microscope. Every living element is made up of a number of tiny cells. So every living element in this world, every living organism in this universe, like the dog, sheep, humans, fishes, crabs, everything is made up of a number of tiny cells. There are some single cell organisms as well that live on their own. So here's the twist. We just said that every living organism is made up of a number of tiny cells, but there are some single cell organisms also that only have a single cell, only one cell in their body. Organisms can be classified into unicellular and multicellular organisms depending upon the number of cells present in their body. Now we divide the organisms on the basis of number of cells present in their body. We have unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. Unicellular, which have only a single cell in their body, and multicellular, which have a number of cells in their body. Let's study about them. Unicellular organisms. Unicellular organisms are composed of a single cell. So what are unicellular organisms? Unicellular organisms are those organisms that are composed of a single cell. They only have a single cell in their body. The single cell constitutes the structure and entire function of the organism. So they have a single cell and all the functions of the body is fully dependent on the single cell. The single cell only one cell perform all the functions of the body. For example, amoeba. We have the example amoeba, which is found in the marine areas or areas of decaying water. Amoeba is a microorganism and is a unicellular organism that only have a single cell in its body. Chalmadomonas is another example of a unicellular organism and Paramecium is another one. And one more thing, unicellular organisms are so tiny that we can't see them with our naked eyes. We need a microscope to see them. Multicellular organisms. Multicellular organisms are composed of many cells. So what are multicellular organisms? They are those organisms which are composed of many cells. They have many cells in their body, million, billion or trillion or even more. The labor of performing functions is divided between the various cells in these organisms. So they have a lot of cells in their body. So the labor is divided among these cells. We have different type of cells. We have special type of cells for performing each function. Some multicellular organisms have different cells. For example, human beings have different cells of different shapes and size in their body to perform different functions. Like I have just said, we have different type of cells of different shapes or different size for performing different functions. For performing different functions, we have special level cells like the human beings. And what are the examples of multicellular organisms? You can name any animal, humans, cats, dogs, birds. They all are multicellular organisms. So guys, what we have learned today? We learned Cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life. Who and when discovered the cell? Robert Hooke in 1665. Then we learned about unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. What are unicellular organisms? They are those organisms which only have a single cell in their body, and multicellular organisms, they are those organisms which have a number of cells, million, billion, trillion, or even more in their body. So guys, I guess that was enough for today. Thank you.